everyone, AMR back in with another video. So in today's episode, I will be covering the Thursday night football game. So this is going to be a preview for tonight's matchup where you have the Miami Dolphins at 3-0 going up against the Cincinnati Bengals at 1-2. Definitely not the start that you want to see Cincinnati get off to here. Let's go ahead and look at the Miami side of the ball. So Miami is 3-0 on the season, and they are 2-0 as an underdog. And this is yet another game where they're coming in as an underdog. I believe Cincinnati is favored. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Cincinnati's favored by 3.5 at home. The over-under here is set at 48.5. I think that this actually exceeds the over-under on this, and I'm not 100% certain that Cincinnati gets this game underway. You know, I feel like Miami is going to come out with another win here, and you can see the Cincinnati Bengals starting off at a measly 1-3. Miami continuing on at 4-0. Now, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the statistics that Miami is putting up. So they are averaging 27.7 points a game, 308.3 yards passing per game, and 64 yards rushing per game. They're really just kind of being dominant in all aspects of the game. Outside of the rushing department, I mean, they don't really make that part of their game to begin with. I don't feel like that's been a focal point in the offseason, going ahead and getting Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle on the other side. Tua has just been lights out. I really am really glad to see where this team is going. They are allowing 21.3 points a game, 310.3 yards passing per game, and 116 yards rushing per game. So you're definitely getting two sides of the coin there. And, you know, I really do see this being one of those games where Joe Mixon could have a breakout game. Joe Burrow is going to be awesome in this game. T. Higgins. Jamar Chase, I really don't know what to expect in that front. Xavier Howard is listed as questionable for tonight's matchup. They're saying that he's going to play, but it's just always in the back of my mind. Joe Burrow's been having a really rough start of the season here, and I think he had 4 turnovers in week 1. He's just got to take better care of the football. Xavier Howard was like the leader in interceptions a couple years back, so he's definitely capable of doing so. Last 3 matchups for Miami has been Buffalo, Baltimore, and New England. The fact that they are 3-0 says a lot about them compared to the Cincinnati Bengals, who have played the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Steelers, and they're 1-2. So this could get pretty ugly pretty fast. I don't really see how this could be favoring Miami outside of the fact that Tua is listed as questionable, Jalen Waddle is listed as questionable, and Teron Armstead's also listed as questionable. All of them are going to play. I have no reservations about that. As far as the rankings go, they rank 13th in offense, 20th in defense, 4th in passing, and 31st in rushing. Really no surprise on the rushing front there at 31st overall. Like I said, they're not really making it a focal point of the offense. I don't see Chase Edmonds being very involved in this game. If he is, he's going to be through the air, definitely not on the ground. Raheem Mostert's been getting a lot of the groundwork. It's been pretty inefficient, and Cincinnati's defense really has not been all that bad. Flipping over to Cincinnati's side, they are giving so their rankings are offense 20th, defense 20th, rushing 20th, and passing 14th. I think it's just going to get worse here in week 4 against a very, very powerful Miami Dolphins team. There's just too much stacking up against them. Cincinnati is 0-1 as a favorite, and they're favored in this game. 0-1 versus team with a 55% win percentage. They're playing against that against Miami, and they're 0-2 after less than 8 days of rest. It's just really not shaping up to be Cincinnati's ball game here. The really only aspect of this game that is like trending in the right direction for them is the fact that it's at Cincinnati. So let's take a deeper look here at what Cincinnati's bringing to the table. So they're averaging 21.3 points a game, 270.7 yards passing per game, and 97 yards rushing per game. You know, that's not bad rushing for the fact that Joe Mixon has had a very slow start to the season. I think that he's going to be just fine. And, 270 passing yards for this receiving core and Joe Burrow is pretty putrid. Jamar Chase has been very quiet in this first couple of weeks into the season. I think that he could have a monster game here. T. Higgins, he's definitely the safer play of the two. Jamar Chase is very dependent on the long ball touchdown. But I do see Jamar Chase scoring in tonight's game. Allowing 18.3 points per game, 238 yards passing per game, and 86 yards rushing per game. So Big thing here is that you don't want to read too much into these numbers because of what I said earlier about last matchups. They played the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Steelers. None of those teams are really, especially Dallas and Pittsburgh anyways, are really not pass-heavy teams right now with Dak Prescott being out when they played each other, and Mitch Trubisky really not known for his passing work either. Joe Flacco has thrown the most passing attempts, but he's been right around 300 yards passing. That just says a lot about what the other two quarterbacks were doing against this team. I think that Tua could have a very solid game. Do I think that he surpasses 300 yards? It's tough to tell. He is nursing that injury, and we really don't know what we're going to see from him. On the ground game, however, I think that they're just going to be completely shut down on the running game. This is a pretty low yards per game at 86 total yards. And I really don't see it surpassing this by any long shot. The one thing I will go ahead and point out, though, is that the amount of points that the Cincinnati Bengals is getting per game is 21.3, and the allowed points per game by the Dolphins is 21.3 as well. So I think it's safe to say that Cincinnati is going to get at least 21 points in this game. It's really all about what Miami's going to be bringing to the table here. Now, lastly, we have the weather report. It's going to be a sunny day, 63 degrees, 0% chance of rain, 8-mile-an-hour wind that is going to dwindle down to about 4 miles an hour by the end of the game. I think this is going to be a very fun matchup. It's a lot funner than last Thursday's matchup. On the Cincinnati side, you have Lyle Collins, who's questionable, Drew Sample, who's been ruled out, DJ Reader's been ruled out, T. Higgins is in, and Joe Mixon is in. And that's pretty much going to do it. So if I had to go ahead and say Tua or Joe Burrow, I think I'm going to go with Joe Burrow in this contest. Obviously, I'm going to go Joe Mixon in this contest, but I think I would rather play Tyreek Hill over Jamar Chase, and I'd rather play, I think I'd rather play Higgins over Waddle. Waddle, if you didn't know, is nursing a quad or a groin injury this week, and we really don't know. Groins are pretty tough on wide receivers. And then at the tight end position, you got Gesicki, who's, he's been getting more involved. He's been really trying to get involved in the passing game, but he's been more pivotal in their run blocking. I think that they're going to keep getting away from him being a pass blocker and get him more open in space. Drew Sample being out is a wide open opportunity to get Hayden Hurst on the cheap right now. I think Hayden Hurst has a decent game. But I'm going to go ahead and say that this game is going to be 27-21. Miami takes the win on the road here. But that's going to do it for today's episode. As always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, helps me out a ton. But I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.